Hello, 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 everybody. That's right. This is QD's Talk Time, and you are listening to LaQuisha Blair, otherwise known as Q. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. I actually wanted to release this yesterday, and time got away from me, and I did not get to do that. So, for everyone out there listening, if you've ever served in the military, I just want to say Happy Memorial Day. You know, I want to give thanks to everybody that served. If you were in the service, if you served your country and you sacrificed, thank you from the bottom of my heart. You know, this is something special to me because my father was in the military. He was actually, believe it or not, in World War II. He was also in the Vietnam War. He was also, he's been in the service for quite a long time. I didn't know exactly when he retired, but I know that it affected him immensely. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that here in just a little bit. But I just wanted to say thank you to everyone out there. You know, like I said, my family is a military family. My father was in the service. My brothers, I have two. Let me change that. I have one brother on my mom's side. And the reason I say that, let me just kind of explain a little bit. There's a mom side and there's a dad side. My dad was married before he married my mom. So his first wife, or before he and my mom got together. But his first wife was, she passed away, but she had 9 boys. And as far as I know, I believe at least 6 of the 9 boys were in the military. So all of my brothers on my dad's side of the family were in the military, or most of them, at least 6 of the 9. And then on my mom's side, I had 4 brothers, and only one of them was in the military. But all of my uncles, except for one, were in the military. So we come from a military family. My nephews were in the military. I mean, that was just the thing to do. Now, of course, many, many years ago, that's just what you did. When you came out of high school, you went into the military because that provided a better way of life for you. You know, you had an opportunity to share benefits with your family. You got a chance to travel. You got a chance to make money, and everything was provided for you. Your room, your board, your training for different kinds of professions. You could be a cook, you could be a doctor, you could be a maintenance man, someone that a repairman, somebody that fixed the vehicles. You could be a scout, you could be an architect, somebody that provided for buildings in the service, you know, because they needed every aspect of just exactly what we need out here. So that was the thing to do. You joined the service, you got a career out of it, you made money for your family, even to the point where the service would provide you a place to live for you and your family. If you were a young officer who was married and had children, you had a place to live. You could live on base, on the military base, with your family, and then when you were deployed to go out and perform whatever duties you needed to perform, of course your family was there and they were being taken care of, and they received stipend, and they got to go to the military doctors and shop in the military stores, at the commissary. And so there was so much provided, and it's still that way even today. A little bit different, I'm sure, but it's still that way even today. So the wonderful thing was, you had an opportunity to take care of your family in that matter. So now, getting back to my story. So, as I said, my family was a military family. So my dad was in the military and he was in the service. So what happened with him is he was, there is such a thing as traumatic experiences. And he had a very traumatic experience while he was in the service. And of course, being in a war, I know that there are so many young people out there that have joined the service, and just for the fact of being in the service, having to go to war, we have my nephew served in Iraq, and he's no longer in the service, but it affected him. So there are so many tragedies that happen, and it's not it's not only a situation where you experience loss of life. Maybe you have developed friends in the service and they've lost their lives, but there's also loss of limb. There's injuries to your body that, they go through. So because they have gone through all of this, they have to deal with a mental and an emotional suffering. And so there are, years ago, they didn't have anything to help the servicemen when they got out of the service. In fact, a lot of times they came home to even more antagonistic behavior from those that were not able to go into service or decided not to go in by choice, because what happened was, they were viewed as, killers, baby killers, or, family annihilators, or whatever they were called. They were called all kinds of names way back then, and now when they come home, some are viewed as heroes, but they still have that stigma. And unfortunately, in the United States, there are still so many people that are against, our family members, our sons and our daughters going into the service because of that fact, because war is real. And so I just want to take this time just to say thank you, because I don't think you get enough honor. I don't think you're honored enough. And if it were not for our soldiers going out there risking their lives and doing things that are necessary to keep our country in the state that it is, so that we could remain a free nation, I think it would be worse off than what it would be had they not done it in the first place. Now, don't get me wrong. I have certain opinions about whether or not we should even be in certain countries and that kind of thing, but that's my own personal opinion. I don't know anything about all the different countries that we've gone to war with, to be honest with you. I just know that, even for all these different countries, the men and the women sacrifice their children to go and fight against another human being. And so the whole idea of one it's not even about a country fighting another country for me. It's about one human being fighting against another human being for the sake of their countrymen. And so because of that, I give honor to where honor is due. So I thank you for sacrificing everything that you have sacrificed. Some military personnel have sacrificed their lives. Some have sacrificed their limbs. Some have sacrificed their mind. Some have sacrificed their families. Families are that a military family is a unique nucleus. The different people that make up that military family, they're a unique nucleus because let's say if you just joined, you have to move around wherever that military person, whether it's a male or a female, that person that's in the military, you have to move wherever they move. So let's say they're, in one state or one country, you have to go there. My sister was married to a career military man, and they lived in Germany for 5 years. In fact, my nephew was born in Germany, and he ended up getting dual citizenship because he was even though he was on the military base there, he was born in Germany. He got dual citizenship. So if he ever wanted to go back, he could. And if he wanted to stay here in the United States, he could. That was a very unique situation because he was American. He was an American citizen because of being on the American base, but he was also a German citizen because he was born right there in Germany. So that was very unique for him, but it was also one of those situations that wherever my sister's husband moved, that's where she moved. So they were here in the States for a while, and then they were overseas in Germany for a while, and then they came back to the States, and they kind of moved around from one base to another. And that's kind of what happens for those military families that are here. So this is one of those podcasts that I just wanted to take the time and say, because they sacrifice so much, thank you to even the families of the military, because you do have to be a special person to deal with everything that goes on within that kind of lifestyle, because it's not an easy lifestyle. You may move every 2 years, and having to pack up your home and pack up your children and move from one place to another within, a certain amount of time because you go wherever your husband is, that's really hard. And it's really hard on the kids as well. They have to give up all their friends and everybody that they know to be able to go to another place and start all over again. So, fortunately, in my situation, because as I said, my father was in the military, but fortunately, I did not have to go through that. And the reason being is because by the time I came along, my father had already retired from the military. And so I was stationary. I was in one city. Now, we kind of moved from one city to the other, but just as a casual, just because my mom wanted to experience different places. It wasn't because my dad was in the military, but I know that there are a lot of families that go through this. My nephew has gone through this. My niece was married to a military man, and he traveled from one place to the other. I have friends. So you're affected if you know someone, if you have a family member, if you have an acquaintance or a friend, you're affected by what goes on with families that are military based. And I say that because I have friends that I went to school with that have traveled because they were in the military. And so, a lot of times they're single people, and they go off and they're in another country, in another part of the world, and they don't have communication with their family for long periods of time because they're out in the field. What they call being out in the field, meaning you're not able to get to a post office. You write your family, and then someone gathers those letters and takes them and mails them off. So that person may hear from their family or communicate with their family maybe once a month. Sometimes it's more often, but maybe not even that. Maybe it's every 3 or 4 months or every 6 months. And so it's really, really hard on them emotionally and mentally to be disconnected from their family. So then their buddies in the military, their roommates, their comrades, they become their family. So it makes it very, very hard. So I truly, truly, truly want to thank everyone that has gone through something, that is going through something, because I know, unfortunately, we do not live in a perfect world. And as everyone knows, I am a born-again believer, and I believe in the things that the Bible talks about. And the Bible talks about there will be wars and rumors of wars. And because there are, right now, we're dealing with all kinds of wars all throughout the world. And there's always somebody wanting to fight against somebody else in a country setting, meaning like there's always going to be one country wanting to fight against another country for their beliefs or their political beliefs or their religious beliefs, or just because they don't like what that other country is doing and they want to stop it. And for me, it's just very, very sad. And so that's why I want to just say thank you, because everybody is dealing with something right now. Everybody is affected, even if it's not your country that's in war with another country. You're still affected, because what happens in one place, it's like a whirlpool. When you're out and you throw a pebble in the water and it makes these little circles, this rippling effect throughout. There's all kinds of little circles that are going around and around and around, and they go from the middle where you threw the pebble at, and they go out to the edge of the water, and they just keep going until they disappear. Well, that's what happens when there is a war. When there is a war, and no matter what part of the country it's in, that affects everything around it all the way out. And it's because maybe your country gets supplies from the country that's being at war. We get a lot of different supplies from all over the world, and rice, electronics, food. It comes from different countries. And so what happens when one country that we get our supplies from fights against another country? It slows down everything. Everybody is affected. Everybody is affected. And because everybody is affected, it causes havoc on individual families. And it works its way down from the government all the way down to you in your home. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you for everything that you do to keep us safe, to help us to be able to live, for everything that you do. I just want to say thank you. I'm not going to hold you long. I just wanted to make this and send this out into the universe, into the world, just to let you know I didn't forget about you. I am so very thankful, so very blessed, because as I said, there are so many people in my family personally that I know, a lot of my friends, and that are serving our country and have served our country. And I just wanted to say thank you. So, you have been listening to QD's Talk Time. My name is LaQuisha Blair. You can call me Q. Just remember that I love you. God loves you. Keep looking up. Bye-bye.